going to make a controversial statement, but I believe it to be true, that country music has sold out. But let me tell you what they've sold out to. I thought it was just two things, but in the last several weeks and months, I've been picking up one more thing that they've sold out to. And this, you probably haven't picked this up yet, but listen here. Number one, sex. It's very, very, very clear to me that almost all the songs are about, we'll just leave it a real blanket statement, sleeping around. Like, all the songs are about sleeping around. It has to do that. Imagine there's a whiteboard checklist, and it says, okay, we got to make sure it checks these three boxes. Sleeping around is number one. Actually, number one, the most common one is alcohol, but that's actually my second one. So, sleeping around, and then alcohol. There's alcohol references to getting messed up on alcohol on everyone. Drinking, drunk, all of it. It has to be insinuated. That's my other one. But the third one is going to surprise you. And if you start listening to this and you start realizing it, this one really surprised me. And when you tell people this, they're like, But the third reference is drugs. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a holy roller, but listen, or a teetotaler, but listen to this. A lot of them talk about, not every single one, but a lot of them talk about getting high and getting stoned. And it'd be different. I know back in the day, I've listened to classic country for years, or outlaw country, and that did it. But it seems like now, if it mentions alcohol and it mentions sleeping around, it's also going to, somewhere in there, mention getting high, getting stoned. I mean, if you just listen for it, you can start hearing it now. And it's definitely not condemning it. It doesn't say, hey, these are the things that you need to do in order to live morally right. Don't sleep around, don't get drunk and act like a fool, and don't get high. It never would ever insinuate that. The only thing maybe would ever be insinuated is the singer or the artist saying, that's not for me. There's a few of them that will say, hey, sleeping around, that kind of stuff, it's not for me. But they're not going to get airplay. The ones that get airplay are the ones that are encouraging sleeping around, getting drunk, and also getting high and getting stoned. And the third one is subtle, but if you listen to it, there's a lot of drug references, and people say, that doesn't necessarily mean, full-blown drugs. It doesn't, but it's not saying it's not. It's not saying, hey, cocaine is bad. When a lot of these artists are actually doing that. They're actually writing it from a place of that where they have really hardcore drug addictions. When we really need to be as an industry, if we want to see people, if you love your audience, would you be encouraging that? If you love your fans, would you be encouraging that, or would you be repentant of that? Now, some of the songs, they come from a place of regret. So you could say, oh, well, the writer, the artist or the writer who wrote this song is obviously singing it from a place of regret. Yeah, but they're glorifying it. They're glorifying their, I wouldn't say their flaws, they're glorifying their habits. And they're not even habits at this point. They're just like a part of their life. It's part of their identity. So you as a listener, you're identifying as someone who is sleeping around, someone who drinks way too much, and someone who gets high. It's not a good thing, and it's one of my major issues with country music right now. And I hope that someone takes responsibility and takes the wheel and steers the ship in a better direction. That's my soapbox for the day. Adios.